Welcome back to the Aesthetic Business Masters podcast, where we sit down with visionaries, innovators, and business leaders shaping the future of aesthetics. Today's guest is a remarkable example of what happens when clinical excellence, entrepreneurial thinking, and genuine patient care come together. Starting her career as a beauty therapist before becoming a registered nurse, she has built an impressive reputation within the aesthetics industry as a clinician, educator, mentor, and business owner. As the founder and lead nurse of Tekah Aesthetics and Skin, she has successfully expanded her business across multiple locations, trained hundreds of nurses, helped launch numerous aesthetic clinics, and establish herself as a respected national educator. Most recently, she was recognised as the recipient of the prestigious Nursepreneur Award at the Aesthetic Business Masters 2026, a testament to her leadership, innovation, and impact within the industry. Please welcome the incredible Tekah Loutsis. Tekah is the founder and lead nurse at Tekah Aesthetics and Skin and Tekah Aesthetics Education in Victoria. With more than 15 years in the beauty and aesthetics industry and over 8 years in medical aesthetics, Tekah has developed a reputation for delivering exceptional patient outcomes, advancing clinical education, and really supporting and nurturing the next generation of aesthetic practitioners. Beginning her career as a beauty therapist before transitioning into nursing, Tekah combines a unique understanding of both skin health and aesthetic medicine. Today, she leads a growing business operating across multiple clinic locations while also serving as a national educator and industry mentor. Through Tekah Aesthetics Education, she has trained more than 100 nurses annually and helped launch over 20 aesthetic clinics, making a significant contribution to the growth and professionalism of Australia's aesthetics industry. Her recent recognition as the Victorian Aesthetic Business Awards Nursepreneur Award winner reflects her commitment to leadership, innovation, patient care, and business excellence. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
I'm very excited to chat with you because the Nursepreneur Award in Victoria was, I think, the most competitive. It had so many entries. So congratulations to you on winning the Nursepreneur for 2026.
Thank you so much.
Were you shocked?
I was a little bit. I knew that there was going to be good competition. Like, I know majority of the nurses in Victoria, and I know a lot around Australia as well. So when it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. Because I'm always too scared that someone's going to call someone else's name and then I stand up.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, hang on a minute, I need to sit back down. So I had to wait, oh yeah, that was me. Now my name's on the screen. Now I'll stand up.
Oh, that's so funny. But yes, that's something that I would do as well. And I would have nightmares beforehand of doing that.
That was me.
And what did receiving the recognition and award mean to you personally and professionally?
Look, if I was to be completely honest with you, validation. Like, as business owners, we're usually so busy, responding to messages at 10 and wondering if anyone else has it more together than what we do. And you spend so much time chasing that next goal. You really don't have time to or you rarely ever stop to acknowledge how far you've actually come to get there. So I think more than anything, it just reminded me that the hard work really matters. And that, this award shows that the late nights, the risks, and the moments of, what the hell am I doing? It's actually worth it. It actually paid off. So having that validation there and, hopefully it shows other nurses that you don't just have to stay exactly where you started.
That's so beautiful. And you've had a really unique journey because you went from a beauty therapist to a registered nurse to a business owner. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah. So it started from when I was really young. I started off in the beauty industry. I started off doing my Certificate 3 in beauty. And then I went on and did my Diploma of Beauty. And then I always knew that I wanted to be in aesthetics. So I went back and I did my EN and then went back into my RN as well. So I always feel like it's been a multi-level to get there, or multi-layer to get there, but it was the most rewarding experience along the way.
You have worked so hard to get to where you are. That's a lot of study.
Yeah, it was a lot of study. Glad that's over.
Goodness me. Wow. That's like years.
Yeah, it was. I did a lot of it while I was doing my VCE as well. So I did my certificate 3 and then went on to do my diploma in beauty just after school. But yeah, it was 4 or 5 I think it was in the end.
Yeah, goodness me. And was there any defining moments throughout where you decided that, okay, aesthetics is not just a profession, this is my whole life now and going to become a real business?
Yeah, I think, as I said, from as early as age 16, I knew that I wanted to be an aesthetic practitioner. It's actually written on my year 10 course selection. My mum still has it. It's written down, one day I'm going to inject the collagen in people's faces. That was like a good 20 years ago, I think. So I always knew that I was going to be in aesthetics, but I never imagined that I would actually be teaching or mentoring other nurses in the aesthetic industry. So like, don't get me wrong, like I absolutely love my patients and some have been seeing me for 9 years, but I feel like helping change other nurses and create their future, like that's good stuff.
And I'm guessing it was really scary. Like there's so many chain clinics out there that you could just go and get a job, turn up to work, inject, leave, and not have to worry about all the other stuff. What inspired you and motivated you to take the risk and start TK Aesthetics and Skin?
Yeah. So I think, and we all feel this, when you start working for someone else, you sometimes see gaps or things that you feel that you could be doing better to grow both the patient's experience but also yourself as well. And I feel like I couldn't be given the experience I wanted to create or the opportunities I wanted to be given as an aesthetic practitioner. So I kind of wanted to build it myself. It's probably the most expensive solution that I could have gone through, but here we are, and I was able to create what I wanted for me.
Goodness me. And oh my gosh, the economy, the challenges that we've gone through over the last 10 years or 20 years, it's crazy. What challenges did you face in those early years? Did you ever think to yourself, oh, why am I doing this?
How long have you got? Yeah. I feel like, learning cash flow, like it's just because it's coming in, it's going to be allocated for other things. You can't spend it all, confidence in yourself. I've now got staff. So how do you hire? How do you staff people, casuals, part-time hours, the behind the scenes, the systems. The big one for me, and I know for a lot of practitioners out there, imposter syndrome. Like that is such a huge thing. And I'm so open about speaking about imposter syndrome because we all get it at any stage. And then, trying to do absolutely everything myself. So, we have to learn in aesthetics, we have to learn marketing, we have to learn that leadership, finance, recruitment, while still treating these patients. Like I just feel, it was super messy. I feel like those lessons are the exact reason, though, like I created TK Aesthetics Education, because I realized most nurses don't need more training. They actually need more behind the scenes and more sort of, I don't want to call it cuddling, but support that way.
Sorry, I couldn't find my mouse then.
Okay.
My mouse to unmute. You mentioned marketing just now, and it is so hard for cosmetic nurses, cosmetic practitioners, doctors, surgeons, dermatologists, anyone who's APRA registered to market themselves. It's near impossible. And it's a really saturated industry. I mean, I know there's enough wrinkles for everyone, but it is still a very competitive space. How do you differentiate yourself?
Look, I think it's really important to just be unapologetically yourself. I stopped trying to say like sound like a corporate person and just wanted to start sounding like a human. I shared wins on my aesthetic page. I shared failures and, the reality of building a business behind the scenes, and people connect with people. Like, who knew, right? And I think that's really important that you show up as yourself, because people relate to that. People don't want to just see you're, busy and you're making all this money or whatever you're doing. They want to know that this is where I started and I can be where you are also if I put in the work. So I think that's really important, to just be a human and show who you are.
So true. It's easier said than done, though. When things go wrong, it's not nice.
No.
It's very vulnerable sharing with the world, but you are 100% right. And looking back on all the decisions that you've made, was there anything that you did that had a really big impact? You went, oh, wow, that worked really well.
Honestly, I really feel like building Tekah Aesthetics education, without a question, there was a really big gap in the market, and I feel like I was able to fill it. So most people would have seen it as, supporting and helping to grow my competition, whereas I sort of saw it as opportunities to help other nurses, and it has been one of the best business decisions I have ever made. So I feel like the second biggest decision was investing heavily into this behind the scenes support. So I have fantastic social media manager. She's been with me for, I think it'll be 5 years this year, almost 6. Yeah. VAs as well. And then of course a mentor as well, someone that's actually walked that path in front of you so they can actually get you to, that, I don't want to say a shortcut there, but they can actually help you get there and from A to B a little bit faster.
That's so interesting, because there's some really phenomenal injectors out there that have an incredible social media presence. However, the majority of their time is literally spent injecting and doing social. There's no time for anything else, or to work on the business or to grow the business. How did you make that transition from solely treating patients to growing and leading a business?
Yeah, so I feel like injectors don't really scale. Businesses don't really scale because the owner is doing it all and just works harder. I feel like they scale because the owner stops trying to be that entire business, and starts asking for help, I guess. Like, I'm definitely in, and my husband probably hears me say this all the time, I'm definitely in my work smarter and not harder era.
I feel like you get to an age where you decide that, okay, I'm going to let some things go.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned VAs before, because they're just incredible,
They
crucial.
are. Yeah, they really are crucial, and you can get some really good ones that do things before you've even thought about it. Mine this morning just said, oh, we didn't talk about this email, but I thought we needed to have this email go out. So I've drafted it. Can you approve it? And I'll send it out today. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Approve. Like, it's just thinking ahead of what you're already thinking, which is fantastic. They're worth their weight in gold.
Yes, yes. And this industry can be quite judgmental and a little bit cruel sometimes. So I'm sure when you started this education pathway that there would have been some people who, I don't know, maybe said you weren't experienced enough, or, didn't have this or didn't have that, or whatever. Because there's always this, I guess, backlash in this industry. I feel like when someone does really well, there's that small minority that just want to bring them down. Were there any hard lessons you had to learn about leadership, or any times where you had to be really tough and resilient?
I think more like from a clinic perspective, that's where I sort of learned that from managing staff. And as business owners, you know that not everyone will care as much about your business as what you do. And that is okay. Like, it does take you a while to be like, why aren't you going above and beyond? Why aren't you, tuning in at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night? Which, I don't ask people to do, but if I was, it's one of those things, but it's okay. Like, you don't need to have many versions of yourself running around. You just have to have really good people in the right positions.
Yeah. And are there any systems or strategies that have been crucial to helping you scale your clinic successfully?
Yeah. So I'm leaning into automations a lot more. Automations, like, I love them. Leaning more into AI, like, how can we not, in a way? And sort of how can I utilize utilize AI in my whole business being automated and giving myself time back. So my VA is really good at this whole automation thing, and I've learned a lot from her. I feel like if your business only works when you're there, or if you're manually like ticking the send button, you're doing everything. Congratulations. Like, you don't own a business. Like, your business kind of owns you. Like, the whole point of running a business is so you can create more time for yourself. So if you're not automating all of these things and things going out while you're sleeping, and you're physically got to be here clicking it, then you're just, your business is in control of your life. You're not in control of it. So I feel like, automations are just your best friend. And as I said, slowly leaning into AI.
I think everyone is slowly leaning into AI. It's not easy, is it? It's a lot.
Like, everyone's doing it, and you're like, I'm going to dabble in this, but I'm also a creature of habit too. So things that I've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years, if they work, I'm sort of like, if they're not broke, don't try and fix them. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And education's become a huge part of your professional identity. And you've trained hundreds of nurses and helped them launch more than 20 clinics. What inspired you to move into education?
I think the big one is I started off in education training, like newbies, sort of like a boot camp. And that's sort of like their first step into aesthetics. And I was seeing so many talented nurses leaving training and still not having a clue on how to build a business or where to go from there. It was like we pretty much signed them off and was like, fly, little birdies, like, go do it on your own. And I knew, and like, they knew how to inject in the skill, but they didn't know how to get patients in, make money. Like, where's that next step? So there really was a gap in the market that I wanted to fill. And I say market quite lightly, in the sense that there really was that gap in the aesthetic industry where people still needed that support. So I think seeing nurses launch successful clinics after training through TK Aesthetics education, both my mentorship programs or practical training, it's honestly one of the most rewarding parts of my career. And my mum's in education as well, so I feel like she's sort of like, woo, you followed my path.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And do you see, are there any patterns that you find that some of the new nurses make that is potentially a really big mistake?
Yeah. So I feel like one of the big things is waiting until they feel ready. Like, I have people contact me and they're like, oh, this is going on in my life. I'll contact you in a few months and we can, talk about it. And then a few months goes on and they reach out and they're like, oh, I haven't forgot about you. Like, I'm still thinking of branching into aesthetics. It's just not the right time. And then they'll contact me a year later. Like, I feel like you're never going to be ready. Like, you just have to make that leap. The other thing I see is thinking that another course is going to magically give them confidence. So I feel like confidence comes from actually coming and doing the thing, and not from another certificate. So I see that quite often, where they're like, oh, I'll do this certificate, I'll do this one, and next minute they've spent, $20,000 and they still haven't started doing the skill. They're just doing all of these courses. And, I'm all for, as I said, I'm in education, I'm all for education, but there's a point where you have to go, all right, now we need to dive in, because if you don't start practicing that skill, you're going to lose it and you're going to be exactly back where you started from.
Absolutely. And what do you think separates? Oh, you actually just answered that question.
Yeah.
How important is mentorship, and what does your mentorship actually involve?
Yeah. So I feel like mentorship is critical. Like I have a mentor as well. And just because I've been in this industry for, in the industry for 12 years, been injecting for 9, doesn't mean that I should stop having a mentor. So I do believe it's critical. I feel like every shortcut that I've taken came from learning from someone that made those mistakes. And they don't have to be in aesthetics. They just have to be in business. My mentor is actually a hairdresser and has a massive business, but she's made those mistakes. She's that step in front of me. A good mentor can save you years of mistakes and thousands of dollars. So that's why I've invested so heavily in my own mentorship, and why mentorship is such a huge part of TK Aesthetics education.
And 12 years, my goodness, you've seen some pretty significant changes over the last 12 years.
Yeah, we went through a lockdown.
Indeed, my goodness. And Victoria, wow, like
Yes.
the industry was so divided, whether or not you should be allowed to inject. Oh,
And this is
goodness.
it. Like I think a lot of it came down to ethics. I think that was a big part when nurses ethics always is at the forefront. But it's also people were like, well, we're not beauty, we're medical professionals. But where I saw it as, yes, okay, we are medical professionals, we aren't beauty, but the ethics behind what we are doing, we should be closed. So that for me, that was a real big, we shouldn't be doing lips when there's COVID running rampant. We've got to, our face in someone else's face. So I think that's what a lot of it came down to. And I actually did a big post on my education page about this, saying, yes, we demanded at this time that we are not beauty, but it also comes down to that ethics as well.
Oh gosh, it's it's
Feels
just
like a lifetime ago, doesn't it?
yeah. It's like a whole podcast on its own.
Yeah.
And oh gosh, I remember, should we be vaccinated? Should we not be vaccinated? And in Queensland, they had hundreds of nurses refusing to work because they refused to be vaccinated. I mean, oh my gosh, it was just such a terrible time. Let's hope that never happens again.
Let's hope it doesn't.
And but I do completely agree with you. And what excites you most about where the industry is headed?
Yeah. So I think the biggest shift is that holistic outcome. We're talking skin, we're talking hair, we're talking wellness, longevity, inner health. Like patients actually now want these comprehensive solutions. They want these comprehensive treatment plans, not just this quick fix, not just this freeze and fill anymore. We're looking at long-term outcomes, which I think is fantastic.
I absolutely agree. And what concerns you about the industry? Is there anything that concerns you?
Yes, definitely. I feel like there is still a lot of misinformation. I feel like so many consumers get their information from social media or AI. But the problem is because Australia is in this gridlock of what we can advertise online, consumers are getting education from our international counterparts. So it's not always correct, and it's not always the treatment that we have here. Um, and this might not be the way that we do things here in Australia. And it's really frustrating that we can't educate our consumer on the way we do things in Australia. And they do have to get on and find it from the UK or America, which we know sometimes can be terrifying. So yeah, it would be nice if we could educate that little bit more, and just help our consumer there.
Absolutely, especially the younger generation.
Yeah.
Goodness. And what role do you believe nurses play in shaping the future of aesthetic medicine?
Yeah. So a massive one. Like, let's be real, majority of aesthetic injectors were nurses. Okay. There are so many nurse injectors now, and there probably is a lot more than doctors in aesthetics. So I feel we aren't just sort of participating in the future of aesthetics. Like, we're helping lead and we're pretty much creating it. Sorry, doctors.
You are 100% correct, though. And the majority of clients are women and the majority of nurses are women, whereas doctors is more male driven.
It is. And don't get me wrong, I have so many good doctor female friends that are out there in aesthetic. There still is a lot, but I just feel there is so many nurses specifically in aesthetics now. We are leading this.
You are definitely dominating. And there are more female doctors, you're right, and definitely more female specialist dermatologists and surgeons than ever before. And I'm sure it's going to continue to increase.
Yeah, that's it.
And the term nursepreneur has become very popular. What does the term mean to you?
So before we dive into this, Nicole, I have to tell you, my husband, who's in finance, he often thinks outside the box. Okay. He's going to love that I told this on the podcast and I'm giving him all the glory. But when I told him I'd been nominated for this award, I said, I've been nominated for Nursepreneur. And he's like, Nursepreneur? What's that? I said, it's entrepreneur, but we've strapped the nurse in front of it. And he's like, why wouldn't you call it entrepreneurs? And I was like, that's a really good point. Like that actually makes like nursepreneur, I love that too, but entrepreneurs, I see that does make more sense. So I said I would, I'd submit some feedback. And that was the feedback that I have. So yeah, maybe next year we can be entrepreneurs, but you can, whatever you want to do, Nicole, it's your business. But so I feel like, what does it mean to me? Okay, so creating that impact just beyond that treatment room. So I feel like it's using your clinical skills and knowledge to create, I guess, further opportunities for yourself, okay, and your family, and in turn being able to give you that freedom. So I feel like nursepreneur means to me being able to create upon what you've already got. You've got that job, you've got the career. What else can we do to actually build on that to be able to give you that freedom in your life?
I love that so much. And what advice would you give to nurses who dream of owning their own clinic and being in your shoes, but are really intimidated by the business side?
Yeah. So I think I sort of said this before, like you're never 100% ready. Like there's never going to be the right time. I opened my business in 2020 after one of the largest lockdown, a 3-month lockdown. I quit my job that I had been working in for 7 years, stability, and I handed in my 4 weeks. There is never going to be a right time. And I always believe that opening in the middle of a pandemic and quitting a job that you're financially stable in, that is ludicrous. Yeah. But there is never going to be that right time. So you need to start before you're ready because you'll never feel ready. Like none of us did. I think find mentors that can help you. Stop waiting to feel confident or you'll just be waiting forever. There is never going to be that perfect time. So you just have to go for it.
Oh, scary. And were there any mind shift changes that you had to make? I mean, you mentioned imposter syndrome earlier that were essential to your success.
Yeah. So I feel like imposter syndrome is something that I still get to this day. And I'm very open about talking about that on my social media because when I do, so many people contact me and say, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that you feel like this too. This is how I'm feeling. I think you need to stop asking, and this can go for all steps of your business. Like, what if it doesn't work? Okay, we constantly go, oh, what if it doesn't work? You've ran the most incredible award ceremony. I'm sure when you first started it, you went, what happens if I don't get a single application? Like, there is always this what if. We need to start asking, like, well, what if it does? Like, what happens if this actually works? Like, but we won't know until we make that leap and just give it a go.
You're absolutely right. And did your husband go with you to the award ceremony?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's so nice because to have him there and to see me get this award, like he often sees me on the couch at 10 p.m. Like to see me get this reward, I think he was quite proud. So
Oh, that's so gorgeous. It was so cute, all the men, taking photos of their women.
it was a real fangirl moment. I thought he was my personal cheerleader.
Oh, that's fantastic. And tell us a little bit more about your course.
Yes. So, TK Aesthetics Education. So there's a few different banners that I have under it. So I have my mentorship programs. So all of my mentorship programs are 3 months. They have different stages just depending on what level of depth and hands-on you're wanting. So they come with either the monthly check-ins where we check in for an hour together. We plan your next stage where you need to be going in your career. The other thing I offer is what's called Boxer, which is like a voice message system where you have access to me during the week in between these calls. So if you do think of a question or something that comes up, you can send me that little voice message and then I can respond that way. So it's sort of like, I like saying it's like, having Tekah in your pocket. You just sort of pick up your phone, send me a voice message, and then I can respond that way. I also have my practical training. So my practical trainings, half days or full days, it can be around any skill level, whether it be filler, anterior core, collagen stimulators, high-lays training, whatever you feel. And I train in the brand that you want. So if it's the brand that you're using in clinic, we can train in that brand. It's a little bit different with the farmers where you train in their brand. So this is more training in the skill, not necessarily in the product, whereas farmers train in the product and not necessarily the skill. The final one I have is obviously my TK Aesthetics education platform, which is on Instagram. Anyone can follow along. There is a lot of free education in there, but I do also, because obviously we're limited on what we can say on social media, I also have my close friends group, and the close friends group is for APRA professionals to send their APRA number to me, and then they get put into this close friends group, and they see recaps on all my training, so I can talk about the name of the product, the exact dosing, where I put it. I can talk about anything that's technically not advertising because these are healthcare practitioners. So it's a closed group that you have to be approved for, but it's where all my biggest secrets come out. So you want to be in it.
Definitely. And what about a brand new injector who doesn't really know what he or she needs to learn?
Yeah, I think I recommend then doing my mentorship programs if you are looking at opening your own clinic at the end of it. That's saying I still have a lot of mentorship students that have been working on their own, whether it be at a chain clinic and they're wanting to open their own business or they're in their own business. And a lot of what I'm doing now is I actually have a few mentorship students that are planning that next stage of their life where they're thinking about having a baby. And then it's like, so what do I do with my business? So we're breaking down what we can actually do. Do we look at hiring? Do we just look at time off? Like everyone's situation's completely individual. And then my biggest thing is, and when you come back, what does that look like? Okay, so while we're planning, yes, okay, you're in the early stages of pregnancy, we're talking about maternity leave, we also need to be planning, what does this look like on the other end to you? So when are you thinking of coming back? That's another big consideration. How many days? Like we need to be taking all of that into consideration. So I think mentorship is always recommending where I start. And then we can always look at down the track, something like a practical upskill or training.
That makes perfect sense. How fantastic. And before we wrap up, we're going to do some rapid fire questions, which means really quick. So first thing that comes to your mind, there's no right.
Let me get a drink for this then, because if you're going to shoot, I'm going to have to go.
Please have a drink. I love that you filled us in all about your training, because it's so exciting and it is so needed. You're right. It is a gap. There's so many different courses out there by, or that are hosted, I should say, by the companies that distribute the product or sell the product direct. And like you said, they're training only in that particular product.
Yeah.
And And sometimes I guess I would assume that they're also quite limited because they're so highly regulated on what
They are.
and
That's it. So I have a lot of people that will send me to me like off-label training because the actual company can't do it. Whereas I'm able to say in my practical trainings, this is off-label. I do this in my clinic. Like it's, obviously we in our consent forms, it has to say, it's off-label, but we can actually learn it. Whereas in your farmers, you actually can't. You're down to that regulation of, what does the box say? That's all we can do. And let's be real, like if we're talking about toxin, most companies only brown and crow's feet that it's indicated for. Now, we know there are so many other areas out there, and you would not last, a few weeks here if you only learned the frown and the full hair. I mean, the frown and the crows. So it's something that we do have to assess that full face, and we do have to be learning the non-indicated areas.
Yes, so true. Okay, everyone ready?
All right, do it.
What's the best investment you've ever made in your business?
Yeah, mentorship.
What's one leadership lesson you wish you'd learned sooner?
Probably avoiding hard conversations. It does not make them disappear. You just got to have them.
I think I'll do that. What's your favorite business or personal development book?
Can I say my own ebook?
Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
So it's sort of really not book.
And who inspires you most?
Oh my God, there is so many people. There is too many people that I'm too scared to start naming people in case I forget someone.
And what daily habit contributes most to your success?
Yeah. I really like to clean my inbox out every single day. I feel like it makes me feel complete when I've gone through my emails and I have moved them to their appropriate folder.
I understand this. And what does success look like for you now?
I think it's being able to build an incredible business, but also being able to spend more time with my family. I think becoming a mum, you realize that's real success is being able to be there for your child as much as possible.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Being present is not easy, is it?
Yeah. And, that's the goal. The more time I can spend with him and still run a business, that's end game.
Yeah. And Tekah, if you could leave one message for every nurse, clinic owner, and aspiring entrepreneur listening today, what would it be?
I think, sort of what I've touched on in the sense of stop waiting. Yeah. Stop waiting for more confidence. Stop waiting for permission for whoever's, needs to give it to you, and stop waiting for that perfect timing. I feel like if you want that different life, you have to be willing to make those different decisions. And as I said, like 6 years ago, we were in that middle of that COVID lockdown, and I was working for someone else for $30 an hour. I couldn't even have imagined owning my own business, let alone multiple clinics, building one of Australia's fastest growing education businesses, and then helping other people launch their businesses. Like more than 20 clinics I have helped and mentored over hundreds of nurses in a practical space. So I feel like I'm only just getting started. So I feel like you just got to go for it.
I truly do feel like you are only just getting started. And I hope you're a speaker at one of our events, if not all next year.
Oh my gosh,
amazing.
Yeah, I'm so down for that. Like I feel I've only just obviously started the speaking side. Like I'm at that stage of I want to speak more. I had my first event, Elevate, at the start of this year, and it was the first Aesthetic Business Masterclass where I broke down a lot of, documentation, note taking, consent forms like that behind the scenes. And I loved it, like to the point where I ran a little bit over, but I had, I'm trying to keep myself. So I feel like, Elevate 2.0 is definitely coming. It is in the next 12 months plan. So it's there. I'm wanting to expand my teams. I want to introduce more services into clinic, building out my aesthetics education education platform. So I feel like I'm literally just getting started. I'm going to cram all this in before I have my second child, and then we'll take a little break again. I'm not pregnant though. I'm not pregnant. That wasn't a pregnancy announcement.
There's so much on the horizon. It's so exciting. And you've got so much ambition and just such a beautiful, positive outlook on everything.
Thank you so much. I do. And I have so much passion for this industry. I have just as much passion, if not more, from when I decided when I was 16 that I was going to inject the collagen into people's faces. So,
oh, well done. Coming back to you. I hope you enjoy that award and look at your trophy.
It's actually, I'm going to try and see. Is that
there's a little reminder of how
he's looking over me
and remarkable you are, and I can't thank you enough for your time today.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
What an incredible conversation. Tekah's story is a powerful reminder that success isn't built through shortcuts. It's built through commitment, continuous learning, leadership, and the willingness to evolve. Ultimately, to just do it, just jump in, head first, feet first, just go. From beginnings in beauty therapy to becoming a registered nurse, educator, business owner, mentor, and now award-winning nursepreneur, her journey demonstrates what is possible when passion meets purpose. Tekah, congratulations again on your well-deserved recognition, and thank you for sharing your insights with our audience. To our listeners, thank you for joining us for another episode of Aesthetic Business Masters podcast. Be brave in business and bold in beauty. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who is building a business, growing a clinic, or pursuing their own entrepreneurial journey. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep building your legacy.